good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wolf, and I'll be your host for this afternoon's program. Just a few reminders before we start. Please make sure to observe social distancing. And for all of our media guests, you have your chairs in front of you for you to occupy. If you have any questions during the event, we will be having a Q&A session with our athletes and VIP guests later. And I've heard that spicy questions are going to be more than welcome later on, right? So for those who are tuning in via live stream, kindly use the hashtags, hashtag Laban Pinas and hashtag Lakad Matatag and hashtag Taon ng Tagumpay in the comments section. Everyone, thank you so much for taking your time today and joining us for the Sibol Kickoff Campaign Press Conference. We can't wait to reveal what's in store for the Philippine esports athletes in preparation for the Southeast Asian Games in Phnom Penh in Cambodia this year, just a few weeks from now. Before we begin, however, I'd like to give a warm welcome to our special guests. I'd like to acknowledge Smart, Realme, PLDT, Signal, TV5, Acer Predator, and of course, the press have joined us today. Thank you so much for coming in today. To formally start our program, may I please call on one of the most influential names in the esports scene here in the Philippines, the Executive Director of the Philippine Esports Organization, Mr. Marlon Marcelo, for the opening remarks and Sibol 23 campaign updates.
Hello, good afternoon, what's good? I'm Marlon, and thank you very much for coming to this momentous event. So, it's really heartwarming to see a lot of you here, and I've seen familiar faces and, of course, new ones. Thank you for coming. So, let's start. So, I'm going to present to you, of course, our plans and as we move forward, interesting things that will be presented as well, such as the uniform and some interesting stuff that we will be pushing. So, yeah. Here. So, let's go back a year before. So, we have, of course, a very fruitful 2020 Sibol run. So, just to give you an idea, we had 6 medals, 2 of which are gold, and then 4 actually came in second, so silver. Of course, our hashtag for this year, taon ng tagumpay. We would want to actually get more golds than any other, of course, than any other medal. Happy to say we've been being talked about into the different social media platforms. We have at least reached 100 million in all our social media channels. That's combined reach for YouTube and Facebook. Okay? 32.4 million pesos worth of PR and media values earned, all because the Sibol team are actually performing really well in terms of the 2 events that we actually had. So we had only 2 events that we participated in. First is the Southeast Asian Games in Vietnam, and of course IESF in Bali. And happy to say, Team Sibol was actually awarded as Esports Team of the Year from Spin. So it's really heartwarming to see the support of everyone, lalo na sa PH Esports scene, sa press, to the brands, everyone here. Next. Just to give you an idea, these are the dashing athletes that actually won. Just to give you a refresher of the SEA Games. So, some of them are actually here, nagbabalik para magka-gold, such as one of our coaches here, League of Legends silver medalist siya. He wanted to get back and win, but on another game. Of course, our very popular MLBB team and Wild Rift team that actually won gold medals. Next. And who can forget a very hard-fought battle coming in. Our Team Sibol MLBB was the actual favorites to win this event in IESF. But sadly, we fell short. And of course, our Dota 2 team, there were no expectations to actually win. They had to come from the lower bracket But of course, lakad matatag, umabot pa sila ng silver. So that is the gist of our, of course, campaign for 2022. So 2023, OMG, we have 4 different international events that we wanted to pursue and come out on top. Firstly, we will be going to Cambodia to participate for the SEA Games. So the representatives that you will see here are for the SEA Games Sibol team. Afterwards, we're going to EASI in Romania for the IESF. So we're going to defend our 2 silver medals there. Afterwards, we're going to China for the Asian Games. Interestingly, the Asian Games is the first time that esports will be included as a medal sports in Asian Games. So we are really preparing and hopefully we get good results. And lastly, we have the Asian IMAG or Asian Indoor Martial Arts. This is also going to be the first for this event. So that's really 4 different colorways, 4 different jerseys that you will be seeing, 4 different teams, 4 different representatives for our Team Philippines. I'm really excited. And of course, hopefully, after that the campaign ends, we will all get back together and see the results in our annual Peso Thanksgiving night. So you guys are all invited as well. So just to give you an idea, we will be pushing 7 teams for the Southeast Asian Games. Currently, our delegates are 47. So next. For EASI, we will be fielding 4 teams. Of course, most popular here are MLBB and Dota 2. So next. And lastly, this is one heck of a battle because we will be fielding one of the biggest in terms of the delegation for Asian Games. That's 8 teams. Okay, so we don't really have information for IMAG yet, but we are also in the process of making sure that we participate freely on that. So, exciting, intense. Yeah, so next. So, of course, you are wondering, anong gear, ano yung susuot ng ating mga athletes? Of course, in Peso, or sa Pilipinas, the uniform is actually a symbol. It's a symbol of your clan, it's a symbol of your country. So to present the new and improved Sibol uniform, let's give a hand to Danny.
Okay, good afternoon, and thank you so much for having us again this year. No? So, yeah, let's go. Ako si Danny Rogosyon, and I am the founder, CEO of Rev Studios, and we've been privileged to continue this journey with Sibol from the very beginning up to now. And, ayun, I guess let's just show the uniforms. So, just a quick recap of what we had over the years. We've had the very simple jerseys from 2019 that started the entire kickoff for Sibol. And then last year, yung very complicated design, no? And right now, I want to show you guys what we have for this year. So, ayan. Okay, so I'll do a breakdown later, but you can see all of the finer details here. You notice it's also blue, so we'll get to that later then. So, sige. Right. Just to explain briefly what the design is for this year, is we wanna showcase a few things about the Filipino culture in general. Number one, we are very resourceful, we are very passionate, and very driven to our purpose as well. And then, now kasi we have been known to be a nation of champions in esports kasi we've been winning a lot of medals. And nakikita na dito, marami na yung medal count natin on our shoulders, which you'll be seeing later then. Right. We want to repurpose different elements from the Sibol branding to incorporate the beautiful design that we wanted to show. So you'll see here on the embroidery, you see here on the colors, you see here as well on the half sun that is very prominent in the Sibol branding this year. So, sige, please go next. Right. So I said earlier that details are king. You will notice a lot of the finer details that are present in every colorway that we did sa jersey. Sabi nila kanina, there's different colorways for the different tournaments we're competing, which is going to be true. So for the SEA Games this year, we'll be using the blue colorway. And then, ayun, honestly, our focus this year is subtlety and repetition. Then we want to reuse our brand in many different ways so we can actually elevate the Sibol brand further. So, ayun. Lastly, we have a reminder then that at the end of the day, ayun, we forge on a lakad matatag, which is shown in the bye-bye letters as well sa likod. So, yes. Sige. Right. As mentioned earlier, we do have an entire colorway for the entire campaign, whether it's the SEA Games, the Asian Games, tsaka the IAS at World Championships. And we want to make sure that everyone is fitted well throughout the entire tournaments. Sige. And last but not the least then, as we establish Sibol as more of a brand down the line, we've been asked to design casual wear, design merchandise then for the future. So, and if may mga, usually kasi daming tatanong sa amin, uy, Danny, binibenta nyo ba to? So malamang ang sagot dyan, yes, we will actually be starting to produce these kinds of merchandise in the future then. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the entire Sibol uniform kit then.
Wow. Great designs, of course. 4 colorways. Who's excited for that? And sure that we are all excited for 4 big tournaments that our delegates will be attending to. It's always very exciting to hear about what the team has in store, especially considering how big of an exciting of a lineup we have of activities we have for next year. Now, to discuss further on the Sibol national team preparation for the campaign this year, may I please call on the Sibol General Manager, Mr. Jab Escotin, for the Team Sibol introduction.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Again, thank you to everybody that's here. We are very excited to compete in the national tournaments for this year. A little bit of background. I want to keep this short because we will be introducing some of the athletes and the coaches today. So a little bit of background. When we started with the Sibol campaigns and started going to SEA Games and the different national events, we were confident that we would be able to showcase the talents of the Filipino athletes or the Filipino esports athlete. But with the overwhelming success of our campaigns and the national tournaments and the medals that we've been bringing home, this year, we want to reiterate that the Philippines is a global powerhouse for esports, for all of the tournaments that we will be joining this year. And that the athletes and the coaches that we have are the cream of the crop, and we will definitely be bringing a lot more glory to the Philippines this year. That's it. And without further ado, I would like to introduce all of our coaches and players. I'll wait for them to be here so that I can call them. Okay. Okay. So that I don't miss anybody's name, just raise your hand when your name is called, please. Go ahead. Okay. For our Wild Drift, we have Coach Van Alfonso and Chami Paul Nazarea. For Valorant, we have Jose Carlo Jamir and Jose Eduardo Hamir. For MLBB men, Francis Ducky John Glinro and Angelo Kyle Arcangel. For our MLBB women's, Abraham Unida, coach, and Mary Christine Vivero. For our PUBG team number 1, our coach, Ans Clarth Rago, and our captain, Abdul Barode. For our PUBG 2 team, Ralph Romel Tuazon, coach, and Ryan Canlas, our team captain. Ladies and gentlemen, our Sibol national team for our SEA Games Cambodia.
Thank you very much. Yeah. You may now exit the stage. Thank you so much and good luck. So wow, okay. So these look at them just wear our jerseys, right? Ang ganda tingnan eh. Baka naman magkaroon tayo ng chance masuot ang mga jackets na yan, jerseys na yan. But for now, we would like to hear from the people who will actually support this team as well. Of course, our sponsors. May we call on from the head of PR of the Hotel 101 Group. May we call on Mr. Brian Ong. Right, sir.
Thank you. First of all, congratulations for the wonderful kickoff. We're happy to be the official hotel partner of the Philippine Esports Organization and Team Sibol as we host them this May before they fly out to Cambodia to compete for the SEA Games. So Hotel 101, as you know, the hospitality arm of Double Dragon, is the first Filipino hotel brand that goes global with our Hotel 101 Niseko and then recently announced Hotel 101 in Madrid and USA. So we want to give back and support our Filipino and homegrown talents who will compete globally as well. So we wish Team Sibol well, and let's bring home the gold. Thank you.
Would like to call on the next, Miss Patty Gonzalez, the Integrated Marketing Communications Lead of Real Me Philippines.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. We at Realme Philippines are very thrilled to announce the partnership with Sibol. This marks a significant milestone for both organizations as we embark the second year of this journey. This collaboration underscores our shared dedication to fostering the growth and development of esports, not only in the Philippines but across Southeast Asia. We firmly believe that our products are designed uniquely to unleash the full potential of every player, both in-game and off-game. We look forward to working closely with Sibol to achieve our shared vision of inspiring greatness in the gaming community. Together, we dare to challenge gamers to leap and unlock their full potential. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, we'd like to call on Mr. Lloyd Manaloto from SMART. He is the first Vice President for Strategy and Corporate Brand. Hello?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Peso, for inviting us to this event. It's an honor for us to be supporting Peso and Philippine esports. Actually been supporting since 2019, and we've actually been supporting to bring together esports in the Philippines for the national teams. Why is that important for us? Because we believe in supporting sports. It's aligned with our brand, and we believe esports is like any other sport, right? And we think Sibol is the Gilas of esports. That's how we view it. And back then in 2019, we wanted to bring credibility to the national team into the esports. But we've gone beyond that kasi in 2019 we already won 3 golds. And then last year in Vietnam we won another 2 golds. So our mission now is no longer for credibility. It's now about domination, right? So we don't just want to win, we want to dominate because that's what we want to show that the Philippines is one of the leading esports nations. And with that, I want to just want to say the last word that ano yung line natin? Lakad matatag, right? And from SMART, if you win the gold, you will live more today. Right? Thank you.
Woo! Thank you so much, Mr. Lloyd Manaloto. Dominate is the key word for the Philippines. And now that we want to dominate the international scene, we'd like to open the floor for the questions from our friends in media. May we call on the following representatives. Mr. Leo Escatin, the General Manager of Sibol. Mr. Ralph Andre Diables, the Sibol overall Head Coach. and Mr. Marlon Marcelo, Peso Executive Director. By the way, for all of our viewers online, you can also direct your questions on the Sibol fan page or the Peso fan page. Just make sure that you input the correct hashtags, and our production team is on standby to get them. So this is where we now open the floor to questions from the media. Maybe we should start with one of the simple questions out there. This is actually directed to Mr. Jabez Cotim. A lot of people are asking, why blue? Why is it that we chose to go for blue as our first colorway?
Okay, so basically for us, for the Sibol national team, we want every national event that we go to have its own identity. So we went with blue because, the SEA Games for us this time, it signifies our strength. And if you, as discussed by Danny, it also signifies freedom. We feel that after all of the challenges we've been through for the past few years in establishing Sibol, this is the time for us to express ourselves freely and let the athletes, shine with their own expression of their talents and their skills in dominating the next few tournaments that we will go to.
All right. There's another question for Peso now. How different are the athletes now versus the 2019 delegates? Right.
I think not so much. I think our athletes has evolved through the years. Most definitely, yung game sense natin, yung strength ng mga athletes natin in esports, mas lumalakas tayo. I'm really expecting better results this year. Last year, we hit our 70% na makakakuha ng medal. I think for this year, I'll be bold in saying around 90% or 80%, yeah. Makakakuha tayo ng medals. Most specifically, we're already expecting 2 golds from Wild Rift and Mobile Legends.
Wow.
Yeah. Just to add, very bold statement from our overall head coach. No pressure. Yeah, it's different because some of the games we had to cater to, because as you all know, the different host country actually decides what kind of games we will be fielding for this campaign. But for us, it's getting the best. It's getting them ready. Again, all of the back-end issues, we already finished doing it. So passports, papers, uniforms, everything has already been done so that the athletes can actually focus on just competing to dominate and get the medals. So, yeah, interesting.
Just one more thing. I think one of the main differences with the athletes in 2019 and right now is that the athletes right now have a clear understanding of the privilege of actually representing the Philippines and being a national athlete. So there's a difference in actually just playing and being a national athlete. I believe that these guys have a better understanding of that privilege in representing the Philippines.
All right, thank you so much. Now we open the floor to our friends from the media. By the way, we'd just like to remind everyone to state your name and also from which organization you are representing. All right, so are there any questions from our media?
Hi, good afternoon. Louis Morales from Philstar. I guess this question more on kay Coach Ralph. Obviously, this is our third SEA Games already competing. I guess what are the biggest lessons that we've had overall in those past campaigns that we can bring here, and we can work more towards that dominance that we're aiming for?
Specifically for SEA Games kasi, the first one was a home court advantage tayo. It was in the Philippines. So last year in Vietnam was actually the first time na lumipad or we flew out athletes for the SEA Games. So ngayon, I think we have more advantages since we already learned logistically how we will handle yung mga athletes natin, paano natin sila mas matutulungan, paano natin mas matutulungan yung training nila. Um, and yeah, I think ngayon ang pinaka kailangan matutunan ng athletes naman natin ngayon is paano nila i-keep yung same intensity ng paglalaro nila from the first one up till yung ngayong year na. So that's gonna be a big challenge for them.
And a question for Sir Marlon and Sir Jab. As we've said, hosts po nagde-decide, but looking at the collection of titles that we have right now, ano po yung realistic expectation, and how do we like, I guess, the titles that Cambodia has chosen for this year?
I think we have a very good chance. Most probably, kaya natin manalo ng gold sa League of Legends, Mobile Legends, and then of course, wild card for me is Valorant. We are a country that actually excels on those kinds of games, so no pressure, kaya manalo.
I think it says a lot about the Philippines as a global esports powerhouse. So with Cambodia, I would say that we're not lucky that they chose the games that we are good at, but it's just that we're good at most of the games anyways. So it's up to us mostly to make sure that we field the best teams. So that's why we take the qualifiers very seriously, and we make sure that we invest in grassroots also to keep those other games that are not as popular as the other games. But we're very, very lucky that there's a big talent pool in the Philippines in terms of esports, regardless of what game that is.
All right, thank you so much.
Actually, to add na rin, a good example of it would be Crossfire. So, see, Crossfire isn't really as big here in the Philippines before. Not until SEA Games Vietnam. Tapos, yung nag-silver medal na team natin nung before na yon, actually, para malaman nyo, hindi sila as prepared as yung ngayong taon. Because now, we prepared a full year for this, para specifically for the SEA Games, yung team nila. So, yun, sa kanila rin, we're really expecting better results from them.
Okay, thanks so much. Yeah.
All right, so hi Sibol and Carlos Pineda from spin.ph. So my question would be, last year there were a lot of issues in terms of reimbursement, and then also during the IESF, if I'm not mistaken, Blacklist had to issue with the phone, like Samsung and an iPhone. So based on those experiences from last year, what did you do, or what are you doing right now so that you would avoid those issues from last year?
Most definitely, we were able to expect na lahat ng mga problems na yon. Mas updated na tayo ngayon. Thank you to our partners, syempre with Realme as well, na nag-support sa mga athletes natin ng mga Android phones para sa training process nila. Most definitely, we're just more on top of all the rules and all the changes. Even though, syempre, meron tayong mga hindi may iwasan ng mga last-minute changes pa rin. Pero ngayon, bago pa mangyari yon, we're really trying to be ready na agad. Yeah.
In terms of in terms sa Peso side, we are actually coordinating really early. We demand accountability to the organizers as early as now. So if you take a look at it, we actually demand at least 2 full months na i-publish na yung actual technical handbook or rule book na nandun na yung actual equipment. So that we will not be blindsided kung what kind of equipment ba yung ipupush. So we're really on top of that. And from our experience, even though sabihin natin minsan na-delay yung mga announcements or what, we're anticipating na kung ano man yung mostly gagamiting equipment. So, naka-ready na yung team.
Right, so my next question will be, this year is going to be very stacked in terms of scheduling. If I'm not mistaken, the MLBB team, Bren, they're going to be, they might be going all the way to the finals until May 7, and then immediately they have to fly to SEA Games, and then obviously there's the IESF, and then you have the Asian Games. So given the completely stacked schedule that you have, how are you preparing or dealing with this?
Well, specifically for the MLBB team, for us, we know that they are prepared. They're currently the number one team in the Philippines, and they are expected to win everything up to SEA Games and MSC even. For them, with coordination with the team, we're very lucky that Coach Daki is very prepared, and he views the stacked schedule as a way for the team to be more prepared for the upcoming tournaments, rather than being a logistical nightmare for them. They view it as as an advantage to actually play with the best of the best, so that they can train constantly.
All right, and then my last question will be for first Coach Ralph. So, Coach Ralph, you mentioned like a few months ago or a few weeks ago na you're going to leave Brand Esports. So, you already left Brand Esports pala. So, may I ask, like, will this mean that you're going to devote like more focus on the Sibol? Like, is that the next course of action in your career?
Yes, most definitely. I'll be spending almost all my time for Team Sibol now.
Okay, sige. Yun lang naman questions ko, man. And, oh wait, sorry, I'll ask one last question. May I ask, why did you leave Brand Esports?
Actually, mayos naman. Wala namang kahit anong issue. It's just a matter of maybe, yeah, my priorities time constraints sa family ko and for the national team. And syempre, yun, dadating tayo sa time na gusto natin mag-serve rin sa country natin talaga. So, I chose to serve our country.
Alright, sige. Yun lang naman questions ko, man. And, thank you so much and hope for the best for 2023.
Alright, thank you so much. Our next question, please.
Good afternoon. I'm X Enriquez from Esports Inquirer. This question would be for Sir Jab and maybe Sir Lon na rin. Earlier you mentioned about emphasizing the Philippines as an esports powerhouse, whether that be locally or internationally. I believe there are also going to be merchandise to be introduced as part of that. Can maybe fans of the Sibol team expect more, let's say, movement towards not really marketing, but putting the team out there, putting Philippines out there as Sibol, as that team?
Definitely there is though. So as you can see, Peso is slowly just making sure lang that the priority for Sibol is still to compete. And we see some other types of activities, like you said, are as additional or add-ons lang on top of the actual goal, which is to win medals. But as you said, we have big plans specifically for the merch. And happy to say na magkakaroon na rin ng Peso office na i-open dito sa Manila. So, abangan nyo na lang yon. Which is actually malapit lang rin dito.
Thank you for your question. I think the best marketing is the winning marketing. So our main goal is always to bring home medals and bring home the win for the Philippines. So aside from Sibol is a very, very good brand. And the way that we can put it out there is to continually win, consistently win for the Philippines. And the athletes themselves, they carry that brand because they carry the Philippines. Therefore, they carry Sibol with them all the way. So I think with that, we will get all of the opportunities that we can to put the brand out there, even the athletes. We want to maximize it for them as much as possible.
All right, next question, maybe for Sir Lon again. You already mentioned about helping the players deal with all of the other administrative stuff, so focus na lang sila sa laro. Can you talk us through about, kasi we're no strangers to visa issues, passport issues. Can you just stress or give more details about how you're aiding the players?
So, thank you for a great question. So, definitely, on the back end side, hindi kasi napapansin yan, but definitely, what we actually do to help them is number one, prepare all the necessary details, get their, of course, get their permits, get their IDs. So, it's a long process, but ang ending, pag Sibol ka, 100% sure magkaka-passport ka, makakalipad ka. Walang Sibol na naiiwan sa Pilipinas. So, that is one of the that is one of the priorities of our that is one of the priorities of Peso. And happy to say na wala pa namang naiiwan from 2019 until today. So I think the management team is doing a great job para mapalipad lahat sila.
Thank you, thank you. I just want to also add lang na we are very lucky that we have the full support of PSC and POC in making sure that we have all of the necessary requirements for our athletes.
All right, one final question. Maybe everybody can chip into this. I know it's still quite far. There's more than a year pa, but are there any movement or preparations being made towards Olympics and our presence there?
Olympics is, we definitely want to be present in the Olympics, but it's a very, very long process. So for esports in general to be included, it has to go through a rigorous process. But we're hearing, a little bit of momentum, but it's something that we're looking forward to, but we understand also that it's going to be a very long process.
And also, syempre, ayun, as you can see, our schedule is already full for the year. And syempre, dahil gusto namin yung focus natin doon sa performance natin sa lahat ng mga events na to, we're taking it an event at a time talaga. And then, maybe in the future, if mas marami ng oras and mas maging established na rin ng Team Sibol, then most definitely we'll be able to prepare more for more specific events as well. Yeah. Kasi syempre yun, we still have to wait for more announcements about it, anong games ba yung included dyan, whatever. So, yun, marami pa tayo masyadong information na hindi nalalaman. Yeah.
It's a long shot, but we're also preparing for that. To be honest, that's one of our dreams. As one of our lofty dreams of Peso is to actually win an Olympic medal for esports. So that's part of the plan. Peso's goal is actually to forge partnerships then with grassroots activities. So you will see a lot of grassroots activities coming in together with Peso soon. So one activity that we're actually preparing is the ROTC Games. Kasama ang iba't ibang sangay ng government. And many, many more that we will be announcing for the next few quarters. So Peso is really involved in making sure that esports grow from the grassroots. And then Peso is also involved in making sure that we win medals.
Thank you for all the wonderful answers. Lakad matalag.
Thank you, thank you.
I have a few questions. My name is Ron from CE Sport. So I wanted to ask, what are the steps being taken by Sibol to prepare for games that are not popular in the Philippines? For example, it'll always be inevitable that the host country will choose games that are not popular in the Philippines. A good example would be FIFA, which is not at all played in the Philippines. So what are the steps being taken by Sibol to prepare?
That's where the grassroots programs are, very important. So we want to make sure that all the gaming communities for each of the games that are not really popular are engaged. So one of the things that we usually see is that we have an expectation of the different games that host countries would probably put out. So FIFA is, one of the things that we expect from countries that have, a really big football following. So the way we do it is that we have to grow the grassroots so that when we have a big pool of talent, we expect better talent to come out of that pool. But the main point is to continually make sure that they are engaged and that they have competitions that we can start for them so that they can continually compete and hone their skills. So that we can be probably more ready for the next few events. We don't expect it to be instant, but we expect, gradual progress for that community if we expect to see that game to be fielded by different host countries.
Has this initiative started already for the grassroots?
Grassroots programs are currently being provided by Peso. But for the different games, it depends on the different games. So it goes through a process of we have to identify which games we want to invest in which communities that we have to continue to engage. So FIFA is also one of the games that we are currently looking at so that we can start engaging that community or at least grow from what we've been seeing, that they have really low numbers. So the main plan is to actually see how it can grow and how we can continually support it.
My final question is, what would be the best way for fans or the Filipinos to be involved in Sibol?
Oh, watching the live stream right now is a very good way to start. Just keep on looking at our Facebook page for all of the updates. Go ahead and engage your local gaming community, participate in tournaments as much as you can. You know, activate your local community, even your friends, to continually play in tournaments that we field, even the grassroots tournament. It would be a really big help for us if we have a lot more people to participate in the grassroots. Because right now the expectation is that these are pro players already. But we want to make sure that we have talent in the future. And those guys would come from the grassroots.
To add na rin, most definitely, we also want you guys, everybody, na i-support yung mga athletes mismo, not only si Team Sibol. Because honestly, kami, we just tap the talent that's already existing in the country and try to develop that even further. Pero yun nga, kailangan mabigyan din natin ng support lahat ng local talents natin. So regardless of the game, just cheer them on, say hi. I think majority of esports players mababait naman yan. Wala pa naman tayong kilalang nagsi-superstar masyado. Pero yeah, just say hi and support them. Makipag-usap lang kayo, makipagkwentuhan lang kayo. Everybody appreciates the, what do you call this? The attention, syempre, from that as well, yeah.
Just to follow up on what you said, so is there any steps also being taken by Sibol to increase the at least social media presence of the athletes? Because for most of these athletes, they have like very bare minimum social media presence. So is that part of something that Sibol is working towards for any athlete that's onboarded?
Yeah, as always, our priority is to make sure that they're focused on competing. Social media is one of the things that we are exploring on how to grow for them. Because one of the things that we have to understand is that every person is different. Some are really good with social media, some are barely on social media, and some do not really like the attention. So we're looking for a way to actually balance that out because we understand that these guys have fans that would want to interact with them. But it's a process that we have to, study carefully because it can be a slippery slope and it can be, detrimental to their training, which is our priority.
All right, that's all the questions I have, and best of luck to us.
Thank you, thank you.
I think we have one last question.
Yeah. Rafael Bandeirel from PTV Sports. My question is for Coach Ralph. Tulad nga nung sinabi nyo kanina, Coach, your schedule is already set for the rest of the year. And alam natin yung mauuna dyan yung Cambodia SEA Games. So, ang question ko lang, I guess, is gaano ka-importante for the team to, to perform well and sabi nyo nga, dominate this competition to set the tone for the rest of the year?
Yun mismo eh. Opening kasi to for Team Sibol for the year. So most definitely if we get good results, then it would be a good omen for the rest of the year. Pero ayun, other than that, kasi sa amin importante manalo, pero importante rin na matuto yung mga athletes natin. So para sa amin, we try to maximize lahat ng experience nila na makukuha nila through the SEA Games or through being a national athlete. And we try to teach them the proper demeanor of being a national athlete, of being somebody who's representing your country.
All right, thank you, Coach. That's it for me.
Maybe we have just one last question. I think that. All right, this is our last question for.
Good afternoon po. Michelle from Philstar. Could you just talk us through the decision why the qualifiers were set up like that? It was by teams and then combined. And if ever, did those qualifiers clash with any of the professional leagues that are happening currently, like ML and Valorant and Wild Rift?
Okay. In terms of the schedules naman kasi, actually, we're always in contact with the publishers of these different games. So inevitably, may magka-clash talaga ng schedules. And syempre, us treating all our athletes professionally, magkakaroon talaga ng choice yung mga athletes natin to compete or not to be part of the national team. Ganun talaga kasi growing yung ecosystem dumadami yung mga tournaments and whatever. So, kailangan mong mamili kung gusto mo bang maglaro for a commercial league or you want to play for the national team. Most definitely, nasa kanilang personal choice na yun. Dun naman sa pag-determine namin ng selection process natin from team to combined process. Ngayon, yun, that's a good question. So, ganito kasi yan, hindi porket sinabi namin na magkakaroon tayo ng combine is kailangan na kung kunyari 6 players shot, 3 from either, right? Hindi siya ganun nangyayari. This is para mabigyan ng option yung mga coaches natin to actually look for other mixes na possible na mas magaling yung teams nila. So, this is actually, I think, a good step for our athletes then to stop thinking, yung parang tribalism type of thinking na dahil nandito ako, yun na yun, ito na yung end all be all ko. Because honestly, professional sports isn't like that, right? So let's look at more mature sports like basketball or football na, diba, at the snap of a finger, lumilipat ng mga teams tong mga superstars na to and they're still performing well. So sa amin rin, as part of training sa Sibol, na para makita rin nila na may further growth pa na pwedeng mangyari sa kanila. And huwag sila matakot na mag-explore ng different choice, ng mga different opportunities na dadating sa kanila.
Just to add, we set up the qualifiers and the combine in a way that we have maximum options for the coaches to choose the best for the Philippines. It doesn't matter if it's one whole team, it doesn't matter if it's one individual from each of the teams, as long as the goal is to put out the best team that we can for each national event.
And lastly, just to add sa kanila, Peso is always in talks to the publishers and developers to actually push out the best schedule that is possible that will not conflict with the traditional leagues or their commercial leagues, and then for our, of course, the national athletes. As much as possible, we wanted a very good timeline wherein we can coexist with one another. But as Coach said, minsan talaga nakakatama ng schedule. But everything has been communicated and we're really happy that even them are actually appreciating it na may cooperation sa Peso and the different publishers.
Thank you so much. Last question for now.
Hello, this is Mark from Abante Sports. A question ko for Coach. Sabi niya nga parang we aim to dominate from Sir GM. For the titles na paglalabanan sa SEA Games, may nakikita ba kayong ibang countries pa na pwedeng makatapat ng Philippines?
Yes, most definitely. Specifically for MLBB, syempre nandiyan si Indonesia. Pagdating kay Crossfire, Vietnam is really strong. Also for Wild Rift, Vietnam is really strong. PUBG, there's gonna be a mix kasi depende kung sinang mga teams or kung anong mga lineups yung maglalaro for the SEA Games. But definitely, Malaysia and Singapore is really strong for PUBG as well. And yeah, yun yung mga
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say that parang the way we view each of the games is very specific. So we don't view games as country specific only because each of the games has its own niche. So let's say ML, definitely Philippines and Indonesia, but we also treat all of the countries as major competitors, so that we can always be at the peak of our games, not thinking about the country itself, but the competitors themselves. So we want to continually be competitive, not really depending on the country, but we view everyone as equals in a way.
All right. Thank you so much. And of course, if you have any more questions, they will be more than welcome after the press conference. For now, that should be the end of our Q&A session. Thank you so much, all of our representatives up on stage. Now, before we conclude everything, we'd just like to call on Mr. Jobert Yu for our closing remarks. Round of applause, please.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. First off, thank you once again to all the people that came here to support our campaign. And as our Executive Director, Marlon Marcelo, our Sibol General Manager, Jabez Cutin, and our Head Coach, Ralph, gave you all the insights. And also, we are already in the final preparations for now. I would like to acknowledge lang din as Jam mentioned kanina, would like to thank the Philippine Olympic Committee President Bumble Tolentino and Philippine Sports Commission Chairman Richard Dicky Bachman and Commissioner Walter De Torres for all their support. And also, just to give comment to the Department of Foreign Affairs, Office of the Consular Affairs, Assistant Secretary Henry Bersuta Jr. and Mr. Leoj Ortiz for helping us with the processing of the passports of all the delegates. As Marlon mentioned talaga na, we really look everything talaga, and with this, especially from the DFA, OCA, they really help us. Just want to say lang naman, this has always been the promise of not only people who have been asking us, but also on the side of Peso as an NSA, recognized finally as a regular member of the POC. Na we will always try and make sure na if POC President Bambol or PSC Chairman Dicky Bachman nagtatanong sa amin, Peso, Jobert, Marlon, may medal ba tayo dyan? Rest assured that our federation is really trying to help to get those medals. Especially right now, I know that there's a chance we can be the overall head ranking of this. Since Cambodia is the first time they will host this, so as Bambol mentioned, it's the overall ranking of the top C countries up for grabs, and we hope we can help the nation to get the overall head. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jobert Yu. That actually concludes our Sibol campaign kickoff press conference. But food is prepared actually for all of the guests out here. That will be outside of this room, just right there. And as our panel mentioned earlier, everybody is approachable, right? So you can actually mingle with our athletes and all of our VIPs if you have any more questions for them. And we thank you so much for attending both the on-site and, of course, the online event. We have a photo op session after this. And for more updates, kindly check on Sibol's fan page on fb.com/Sibol Esports. Please support our athletes as they compete in the Southeast Asian Games. Hashtag Laban Pinas, hashtag Lakad Matatag, hashtag Taon ng Tagumpay. Dominate is going to be the keyword for all of us. And this has been a wonderful afternoon. My name is Wolf, and we are now signing off.